again everyone, my name is Ryan and this is Haye and welcome back to another edition of Box Talk. It's time for This Week in Boxing, where we give you the news, reviews, the facts from the past week. Let's start with this week's fights. Let's go back Sunday night. Liverpool. David Price. Made his comeback after roughly a year out after the Tepa loss. What do you think of the performance?
It's alright. It was okay. He weighed in at something like 275 pounds. I don't care how tall you are. That's not David Price. David Price is quite, I wouldn't say a leaner heavyweight, but he's never been like that weight. So I don't know if that's a new thing. Hopefully it's not a new thing. But you know, some heavyweights do that, don't they? They feel like they can absorb more, I dare say, more punishment when you're that bigger. So that was my first like, whoa, that's too much. Against an opponent that I've never heard of before, he got the job done as he wants. So I guess for him, the rebuilding job is going to be massive. There's no two ways about it. He is scarred right now because of losses to Thompson back to back and Tepa. So good luck, Dave Colby, on trying to rebuild him. But they're the kind of fights he's going to need to about 4, 5, 6 of them before they even start putting him in or mentioning other names. I like the weight.
I like the weight. I think 6'8". He has broad shoulders. He has a big frame. Being what he was before, that 17 and a half, it's not that it's light, but it is on the slimmer side. A lot of fighters do feel that a lot of fighters historically, when they put on weight or gone up through weights, they feel they're more sturdy. Being that type of frame, 19 stone is very, very heavy, but with that type of frame, I think he could carry it. Is that the ideal weight for him? Maybe it's not. Maybe 18 and a half or the higher 18s. You know what I mean? But I think the extra weight is not going to hurt him too much. David Price has never been an athletic boxer that relies on speed. He relies on his technical ability and his size. So if he's going to fight that type of fight, I think the weight will suit him. Maybe. I just, in my head, it's probably stupid to compare, but I'm looking at maybe like something like Deontay Wilder. He's more of an athlete, I get you, but he's barely 17 stone. Do you know what I mean? And they're like same height. But it's kind of But the thing about Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder has the frame, the shoulder set, the actual mass of David Price. David Price, look at him on TV, he's very, very thick.
So well done on his comeback and a win. But I do think with David Price, you're just going to need to see 3, 4, 5 more of those type of fights first before I even start talking about him versus anybody. Also on the
undercard we had Callum Smith. What was it, 7th or 8th round stoppage it was?
I can't remember, it was so far back. I think it was 7.
This is what I don't like what Matchew's done. They got a fighter, #1 ranking. Before last week, Callum was a killer. You know what I mean? He was blowing everyone out and looking dominant. He had this fight on short notice. Yes, maybe not motivated fully, but this is how when you try to bump up a card with easy fights, it kind of taints the reputation. I think Callum Smith's the same fight he was before and after, but he had a guy that was admittedly, without a Sky commentary team, a middleweight who could make light middleweight, and the guy was just tough and grinding, and he made Callum work. Was Callum his sharpest? No. But there was no need to force Callum or push him onto a card at short notice. Sometimes, leaving it at what it is, you go into a fight with momentum. Now he's going into a fight as in, he had a tough 8-rounder.
You know, I'm wondering about the short notice thing, if I'm honest with you. I feel like Callum Smith might have been on this card. The reason I say it is that he made super middleweight. He made the weight limit.
Who?
Callum Smith. And that shocks me, if I'm honest with you. For someone like Callum Smith to make the weight limit, because I look at him as someone that walks around quite big. I know he's still young and he's lean, but you know, he's the biggest super middleweight I think I've ever seen in terms of size and frame. His shoulder, his back's like that. Do you know what I mean? But you're right. These are the kind of fights where they put him on the bill, sell a few extra tickets, obviously, because it is the Liverpool area, and he expects them to blow out that kid and look super impressive. And everyone's saying, "Oh man, bring on Bellew," you know, just as a momentum kind of builder. Now people said, on the reverse, people said, "Oh, you look at his record though, he ain't fought no one." Now it's worked the opposite now. People are starting to say, well, if someone puts it on in pressure, I saw someone said, "Oh, George Groves now destroys him." James DeGale will eat him up alive easily, and that's just because of that performance against a nobody. and it backfired.
And the Sky commentary is partly to blame for it as well, because they told us he's going to blow his kid out in a round or two. You know what I mean? This guy's not in his league, he's not in his class, he's really a junior middleweight. And then this happens. Nothing says that you can't have tough fights. I think the rounds will suit Callum. I think there's no problem having a tough fight, but it doesn't help your brand when you're put in a situation when you don't have to be put in that situation.
You know, this is also strange, and I'm probably going to go off subject here, but when we done the interview with Gabe Montoya, and we talked about promoters protecting fighters, and the promoters, they have basically put Callum Smith, who's basically a light heavyweight, masquerading as a super middleweight, in against a 154 pounder to smash up and beat up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, Callum Smith isn't a novice that's just turned over and has had 2 or 3 fights.
Yeah.
They have said, here, I found you a 154 pounder that will come over.
Yeah.
You're 180. Smash him up a bit. Yeah. It's wrong.
Yeah,
this isn't a guy that's had 2 or 3 fights. That is wrong. So I'm very happy it backfired. Yes, the kid got taken out, but I'm happy it backfired, because that's. I get when someone turns over and you need to match him with someone
like that.
But when you're putting
not number one contender.
Number one contender, the biggest super middleweight out there, against a 154er. Nah, that's wrong.
Not nice at all. Also on the undercard,
Stephen Smith.
It's a Smith card, really, isn't it? Stephen Smith won. What were the points?
No,
late
stoppage. Kind of body head against was it Bruzelli that caused Tommy Coyle all those problems? Another one that has a British passport, so they bring
Brizella.
back Brizella.
Brizella.
He's going the WBC route now. That was for the WBC. I think it was a silver title. Obviously, he had the IBF shot that he lost about 2 months ago. So that's a quick turnaround for him. To be fair, he looked good. Looked a lot bigger than Brizella in the ring, but he looked good. Looked patient. Took a couple of shots, but. That's the Smiths, he's all out action. But I like him, I like Stephen Smith. But he's going to go for another route, and let's see what he does.
I think it was a good performance. It was a good performance. I think it was a performance that he needed after his loss. For his world title shot. So, he's got the ring rust, he's got the confidence back, he's done what he's supposed to do. Now let's see what they bring forward next.
Let's see what happens next.
Let's go to the main event. Tony Bellew versus Linga Makabu. Well done, Tony Bellew. He put in a tremendous performance, entertaining performance, and that stoppage was brutal. So, tell what I like about his fight is that Tony Bellew said that if he gets his world title shot and against this guy, he has to smash him. He has to try. And yes, he made mistakes. Yes, he got caught. Yes, he got pulled into the hype a little bit against a known puncher. But guess what? He pulled it off. That's one thing you have to talk about fighting. Yes, you have the skill. Yes, you have the ability. Yes, you have the mindset. But sometimes you've got to take the risk. And in that fight, he took the risk. He felt he was the bigger man. He felt he was the stronger man. Makabu was much smaller because he was a light heavyweight coming up as well. And he tried to treat him like a smaller person. And well done, Tony Bellew. Great performance. Career best performance.
Yeah, you look at the record, there isn't that. Chilemba, in hindsight, will be good for him. I think you look at the Chilemba performance, and I think people didn't give it credit back then because Chilemba wasn't as well known as he is now, but that performance was good. But yeah, I agree. Look, you're coming out to, I don't know what the attendance was, 25, 30,000 maybe. It wasn't the 40,000 they were talking. Coming out to your Everton music, even gave me chills as a football fan. They're screaming all the Everton songs. Big Duncan Ferguson, who you won't know, was there. But he's an Everton legend. So all the pressure's on Tony Bellew. You've asked for it. You've asked it. And Eddie, to be credit to him, has delivered. That's what you've asked for. So you've now got to go out and do the business. You get put down early, and everyone in the ringside is thinking, "Oh my God!" And then you come, get off your ass, and do that. Every time he hit Makabu, it looked like he hurt him. Makabu was doing this thing where he's going to the ropes, and I thought, "You're not a skilled fighter, so you've been hurt." And then you're trying to just be aggressive and come out. I will say this though, and I've got to say it without taking some credit away. I don't want people to. I've not heard of Makabu before. I will say it, and I will say, like, when me and Ryan did a cruiserweight video, or we were talking about cruiserweights about 6 months ago, and we started reading off a few names of cruiserweights.
Who went on our list?
Who went on the list of like potential guys out there that are monsters. That's not taken away from it, but I will say that, and we spoke about it later on, but obviously he said he's the #1 cruiserweight in the world, And there's cruiserweights out there, they're going to be shaking their head thinking, no.
When you break down a performance, you can always look at the pros and cons, and you could break down, he should have done this, he should have done that. But you always look at it from the fighter's perspective on that night in the ring. And what Bellew done, I'm trying to say, yeah, he stood his ground, kept that distance, and tried to walk Maccabee into shots.
Yeah.
Know what I mean, yeah? And you can say it's dangerous, it's risky, because when you fight a puncher, you shouldn't be in front of a person to be hit back.
Yeah.
But Bellew done that to take away that ability and that confidence from Maccabee. Know what I mean? Where if he gave Maccabee a chance to walk forward and lead the fight, Bellew could have been in big trouble.
It's weird because I've heard about this puncher thing. And for me, everyone up until 22, 23 fights as a puncher. Everyone really has a knockout record
until you fight the marquee people.
Then you become a puncher. So all these so-called known punchers, until you fight people and you start knocking those over, you're not a puncher to me. You're just a guy that's been beating up. He beat up Glenn Johnson a couple of years back.
Yeah,
I didn't know Glenn Johnson was fighting at cruiserweight. Glenn Johnson is tiny, and so there's levels here. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But credit to Bellew, he got the title, and the pressure must have been massive, and he won it, and I'm happy for him. But guys, come on, let's be honest, break it down. There are a lot. Look, come on, I don't even have to say Huck, Gowacki, Lebedev's out there.
You stick the other
you stick the one that no one wants to fight, supposed to be the GGG, that division. There's guys out there. There's real massive cruiserweights that are really heavyweights masquerading as cruiserweights. They're out there, and obviously he's called out the other one.
Lebedev.
No, we've done that already.
We've done, like I said, there's a lot of fights in cruiserweight for him. If I was mapping his career, I wouldn't want none of the guys you mentioned. None of the guys you mentioned. Anyone. And it's not that there's a lot of good fights. If you had to take a risk, you take Huck. In terms of he's a name. He's a long-term champion, but he has been hurt badly against Glowacki, and admittedly from his last fight with Afolabi, who retired after. Afolabi weren't in the fight; he weren't there. So you might say, "I'll take a risk with that guy." But Lebedev's come on a lot in the past couple of years. Glowacki, don't touch that dude. The other guy, Usyk,
think about
don't touch him.
Huck's the one that gave Povetkin trouble. 3-4 years ago. That's a heavyweight.
I know, but that's what I'm trying to say. That's 3-4 years ago. And I say there might be slippage because we can't get much out of that performance he had last time against Afolabi. So but that's what I would say.
It's a tough one. I mean, did you map it? Honestly, guys. Maybe, and then sometimes when you hear the David Haye call out, I'm not trying to say he's cashing out. I'm not saying that, but it's a big money fight. David Haye generates more than if he were to have those 4 fights back to back in terms of income. So it's almost like, okay, do I take those 4 or do I take one against David Haye and pretend? So I can understand why the David Haye call outs there, because it makes so much money. You know what I mean? Because Bellew will sell a fight all day long, and David Haye's David Haye.
Loads of fights from last week and this week, so let's briefly go through some of the fights that happened over the past 24 hours. Rances Bellamy beats Mickey Bay by a split decision. Good fight. I don't know why it was a split. I watched the fight last night on Spike, and I think Mickey Bay did try and was in the fight at spots, but I didn't think he won the fight.
No, well, he's Floyd Mayweather, isn't he? So
didn't think he won the fight at all.
It has to be a split.
Bellamy, which I tell you what I like about Bellamy, he's busy but seems relaxed. He doesn't seem like he's rushing too much. Know what I mean? Tries to fight long, but will mix it up and likes to throw combinations. Tricky customer for the UK guys. I'm telling you right now. If Crowder looks like he's going to get Linares, Flanagan's going to get someone we're going to talk about later in the show. Bellamy's a threat.
Yeah, that's the one that a lot of the, to be fair, a lot of the proper boxing fans said this when we was asking who's the best 135 pounder out there. Not a lot of people mentioned him, but a couple of the real hardcore fans out there said this kid, and you can see why. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that speed and movement's a bit of a problem for any of our boys, if I'm honest with you. Linares almost just stands there and has a trade up with you sometimes, as a sort of Kevin Mitchell. This guy moves a bit, and movement, just a bit. Movement's problem. Just cause a problem. But that way, he's got a little punch power as well.
So I think no one sounds too fluid. Doesn't mean that. When I say fluid, I don't mean that they're like a great boxer, but they're constantly moving. Their hands are constantly moving. Their head's moving. Their lateral movement's moving. They're always on the go. You know what I mean? Hard people to fight. Hard people to fight.
That's a name to look out for.
I'm part Cuban, so
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go to the UK last night. Quickly, Zaloni Tete won.
Yes.
Keeps his knockout record going. I think it was a 7th round KO.
Yep.
Trying to get Lee Haskins apparently.
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. It's going to be difficult to make now. Obviously, Lee Haskins now part of that big Channel 5 deal with Barry McGuigan and Cyclone Promotions. So yeah, 6-7 months ago before that all happened, easy fight. Lee Haskins would travel. Now it could be a case, believe it or not, of Tete having to go and fight on that show rather than Lee Haskins doing the opposite. Because obviously, look, Lee Haskins is the champion, and I think they're building something in Cardiff. Is it Motor Point Arena? I can't remember what it's called. It's some arena, but they're doing well. That's not Motor Point. That's the Sheffield.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tete's the real deal, bro. I think he's the real deal. Like, he continued his streak, like I said last night. I think 7th KO in a row. He's a complete fighter, and there's some fights out there for him for sure. Definitely a UK so. Yeah,
obviously he's Frank's been trying to get the Jamie McDonald one. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he is good enough to put in with anybody in this weight class. So forget Jamie McDonald. Just try and call out some. Send him to the States. Let him take the risk against anybody. Just let him.
No. In my opinion, the risk is for the other fighters.
Yeah.
It's not for Tete. Because I think Tete's that good.
No, but Tete will be cheap to get over for a name.
Yeah.
Cheap to get over. Get him over. But do something with him, because right now these kind of fights are all good, all well and good.
Yeah.
But when they're against people that people might not know in terms of the casual fans, then doesn't do much for his resume.
Doesn't do much for his resume. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's move forward. Tom Stalker won the WBO Interim International European something on another belt.
Yeah.
Good performance for him. Yeah, we watched the fight here.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for him.
Yeah. He looks very good, and I could see how he was GB captain.
Yeah.
Because everything about him looks very good. Like his hand, everything about him. But then you kind of feel like that's it.
Yeah.
The punch power isn't really there. I don't know. He's had injuries. I know he's had hand injuries or whatever injuries he's had. He was signed over with Eddie. Then he moved to Frank. And I think Frank's done well getting him this title. Yeah. But I think his level is British level.
He's definitely British level fighter. He got a European type belt, which is good for him. It's a nice accolade. And people say, he could do more. This is boxing. It's a privilege to be area champion, or be British champion or European champion. Not everyone's destined for world honours.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? It's not easy. It's easy to get a world title now, but it's not a given.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Yeah. Being a domestic fighter, the best British fighter or the best European fighter,
it's bloody something.
It's bloody something. Know what I mean? He's a good fighter. He's a good kid, but he definitely doesn't have it at the highest level. I think he's a British level fighter, and he should be happy with that level. I mean,
if he was doing that and he was 23, 24, well, I would say there's things to work on and there's holes to fill, but he's young, he can do that, just get him the right fights. I think he's in his 30s, and then that's kind of it, guys, isn't it? When you're in your 30s, it's very hard to, leopards don't change.
Leopards don't change their spots.
Yeah, so
he's a good fighter, know what I mean? I think he's a good kid, know what I mean? But I don't think he doesn't have that ability level
to go any higher,
to go any further than what he has.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm gonna get this guy's name up because I can't pronounce it. So Ryan Farage last night fought against a guy called Jafari. Kareem Jafari. Jafari. In an upset.
Yes.
So what I like about this fight, and I feel sorry for Ryan Farage, he's a decent fighter. But I tell you what I like about this fight. Like, this guy, when he got the knockout, he was elated. You knew that, guess what? He didn't. I wouldn't say he's a journeyman, but he's a guy that didn't really get a fair shot, and he actually won a big fight for him. He was more than happy. This was like, I done it. I made an impact. I'm gonna get a good payday. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. He was so elated when he won that fight. It actually touched me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Ryan kind of mentioned journeyman there. And he's not a journeyman as such that we've seen in the past, but you guys, you got to understand. And I remember I spoke to Steve Upshaw Chambers some time ago. He had a fight with Andre Berto about 18 months ago, and Andre Berto's come out fight after all the drug problems, whatever. And he said, look, guys, we get fights on 2 weeks' notice, a week's notice. maybe, and we've got to drop down 20 pounds in a couple of weeks, and people don't see it in the background, and they see us get bombed out in one of these fights and think, ah, look at this journeyman, not knowing that our preparation to get to that stage has been so. Give a journeyman a full camp, a proper nutritionist, some money, and see what they can do. They turn into good fighters, and that knockout yesterday kind of showed that you give someone the right camp and right time, that's what they can do.
Do you see a knockout?
No.
Oh my gosh, brother. Knockout. Caught him, I think it was like a left hook uppercut, dropped him straight down in his face like that. I mean, it was a beautiful knockout. But like I said, when people win a fight and they celebrate, this wasn't a celebration. This was like a lifetime celebration. You could see in his face, in his body language, in the emotion that this was a big deal for him. Yeah. And I like that. You know, that's the beauty of boxing. I mean, it changes lives. We look at the sport as, oh, it's just a sport. For the people in the ring, people fighting, this is their jobs.
You're fighting for your next paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everyone, all of us that have 9 to 5s. Yeah. You know what I mean, we know at the end of the month another check's coming in. These guys are fighting for their next paycheck, and you're fighting to increase your next paycheck.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. You either get the journeyman salary, or you get the contender / challenger salary. Yeah. And his salary bracket is not changing.
Definitely. It's like getting that pay rise every year. Yeah. Trust me, I felt happy for him. I felt really happy for him. I like to run for Rozo, but that's boxing.
It's boxing.
Let's go to the main event. And Liam Smith versus Radovic. We had a conversation on this show a few weeks ago about this fight. When I was saying they sent it as a homecoming fight, and you were laughing, saying, "What do you mean homecoming?" And at the time the fight was announced, all the other 154 players had fights set up, i.e. the Charlo brothers, Austin Trout, Lara, Van. So the division was in the mix. After watching last night's fight with Liam Smith, who I'm very, very high on, who I'm a big fan of, you guys know this already, I kind of had like, is that it? From the first minute, 90 seconds of the fight, I knew this kid was going to get blown out. It was, the dearth in talent and skill was visible from the beginning, and it was just a matter of time. It was disappointing because the other top guys are there, and I don't think that fight helped Liam Smith one bit in his branding.
Yeah, look, I said when this fight was made, we didn't even do a video on the fight, and that's a British World Champ, and we kind of like, what's the point, what we're going to talk about for a couple of minutes. So a couple of weeks ago you had Jackson versus Charlo, you had Charlo versus Trout, you had Lara versus Vans. That's 6 guys in the top 10 all standing up, we're just going to scrap it out of each other. Those fights would have been tough to make on the negotiating table, but they're all made, and they all got done, and these guys, win or lose, everyone takes credit for stepping those fights up. Here we have a guy in Liam Smith that's a world champion. He's not a contender anymore. He's not a challenger. He is legitimately the real deal. That's a real belt he's got, and he's fighting guys like this.
Yeah.
And we're just so easy in this country saying, oh, it's his second defense. That's not your level you want to be fighting. You can't fight those guys and even mention a Charlo or Lara or I dare say Canelo's name when they do or Cotto. Can't go from that to that. The levels are too big.
Yeah.
Not trying to say he's not capable in terms of a boxer, but in terms of just your arse on a negotiating table, the level's massive.
And we spoke about it a few weeks ago when we were saying that when fighters develop themselves, you want to ease them into it.
Yeah.
It's all good saying he might fight Canelo next, but that's the big stage, bright lights, a lot of pressure, a lot of attention. Stuff you haven't done before, you know what I mean? That's just your headline over here, but you're not headlining against guys that give you anything to take home with.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and like, as much as I like Liam Smith, as much as I defend Liam Smith, that last night, I wouldn't say it was sad to watch, but it was like, Liam Smith could have done that at home.
He gets better sparring.
Yeah,
he gets better sparring than that.
I mean, seriously, he did. He could have done that fight with a blindfold on.
Yeah, and look, I've always said, maybe there are too many belts and maybe me and Ryan are too strict on it, but we always say, once you get that strap around your waist and it says world champion, you ain't going in reverse gear anymore. You've got to fight your peers. And nobody out there is going to say that guy that he fought last night was his peer.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy at best is sea level. Like, that was kind of a disgraceful fight. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the fights on the card yesterday had me a bit like, and I'm normally good with Frank cards, but yesterday I kind of felt like,
no, it was a pass on a time card.
That's what it seemed like.
Everyone gets a nice, decent fight, nice little victory, nice little paycheck, but there's really no substance in it, minus the
Farag. And even that was a fight for Farag to win.
Yeah. No, I mean,
disappointing for Liam Smith. Obviously, he wants the big names, but like I said, is that fight going to make waves in the States? Is any of the big boys going to say, yeah, I'll take that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Don't think so. Alright, let's move on to America's fights last night. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the fights personally as of yet, but I have read the reviews. I know Haye saw the
Rosado Gutierrez fight,
yeah,
which was an absolute barnstormer. Honestly, barnstormer. If you want a fighter, say you've got like a main card coming, and you want to try and get the crowd pumped and get them going just before the main card event starts, you get Rosado in there. Yeah. I know his record's patchy. I know it says like lost. But you look at who he's lost to.
He's his first win in a while.
Maybe Clotty. He beat Joshua Clotty, I think, in December, or something like that. Beat Clotty, you know. But before that, you're right. It was loss, no contest, loss. Apart from his little bit with Curtis Stevens and BKB. Yeah. Rosado gives you action. He was hurt in the fight. I think he got took down hard in the fourth. Yeah. But then he came back and does what Rosado does. It's almost like he's that kind of person. When he sees blood, it really does motivate him.
He's a grinder.
Complete grinder. And
doesn't quit.
Those tough fights will catch up with him, don't get me wrong. But for now, well done, Rosado got a unanimous decision, and he moves on. I don't know where he moves on to, but because I'm not really sure who that Gutierrez is, so it's not like he beat a marquee name, but it's a win nonetheless.
Another barnstormer last night apparently was Salido versus Vargas.
Gutted, we've not seen that.
I haven't seen that yet. Download today for a fact.
Yeah.
I was 50-50 on this fight. With the whole Vargas failing the PED test for Rivada, with clenbuterol, and they'll say it was tainted meat in Mexico. And then the NBA had this whole story about their fighters don't eat in Mexico, it's tainted meat. NFL. And I kind of thought like now it's kind of saying, well, guess what? If you want to fail the clenbuterol test, you could go to Mexico.
You say you ate meat basically.
But apparently the federation, whoever done it, checked it out and said it's legit and let the fight go ahead. That's fair enough. Take that aside, both of them put it on the line last night.
Yeah, was it a draw?
It was a draw. It was a draw.
See this fight.
And they're saying it wasn't even a phone booth. It was like there was like 100 phone booths in there because wherever they fought in the ring, they were this close.
You knew it was going to be. I'm gutted. Sorry guys that we've not seen it. We just had a lot to do last night.
Yeah.
So we're going to probably see it. And might even talk about it midweek or whatever on one of the films. But I heard that was a war. If anyone has seen it, tell us. Leave the comments below and tell us. Was it a draw? Any dodgy decisions to someone who won?
If anyone got a good book for a download, send it to Boxtalk.
Yeah, we need to download that. We need to find that because you know that's not on YouTube anymore. They have removed that quickly, boy.
Yeah. The news for the week, guys. This was filmed on Saturday evening because I've got christening to go to tomorrow, so won't get a chance to do the full show tomorrow. So if we miss anything that's happened in the past 24 hours, please don't chop our heads off.
Yep.
All right then. Well, let's go with the main news of the week quickly. The passing of Muhammad Ali. If you haven't seen the video, there should be a video up which went up last night. Check it out. Might be a long one because it's 50 years to cover. And like I said, it's hard to do a video on Ali justice, but we try to do what we can do.
Like Ryan said, we touched on a lot of the subjects. I guess it's a sad moment for everyone. Check the video out. The video should be up. And just get your tributes in. Make your own videos if you want. Tell us what you think about Ali. It's not, it's easy. Just press record on your computer nowadays. Everyone can do it. Make your own videos and tell us what you did for you. But very, very sad. We know he's been fighting Parkinson's. And you kind of feel like someone like that, with all the fight that he had in him, he was fighting it all the way to the end. There was no giving up there.
He travelled 30 years with Parkinson's. He travelled all around the world to help people. Because just his presence around, just his presence inspired people. Just his presence to be around people gave people something more.
Yeah, it's weird because I always and wrongly diss boxers. I say, oh, but as a boxer you should be able to do this and you should be able to do that. Look what Ali did, and sometimes I've got to pull myself back and say, Ali, shut up. This is a once in a lifetime type person. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, am I really trying to kind of compare him to anybody?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if I did have a go at some of the boxers in the video, I didn't mean to. I just meant, like, you've got that same stage. You've got the stage of millions, and you could do more if you wanted to. But I didn't mean it.
It's not even that. You're looking at a fighter from a bygone era of fighters, and what they achieved is phenomenal. And you just wish that you had other people that could try to emulate. Let's start with pros in the Olympics.
Very interesting. Oh, you know what? This Ali thing has thrown me back off completely because I even forgot about that as a subject.
The greatest. Know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought you was calling yourself the greatest there.
No.
That's kind of thing
my
you would do.
T-shirt. You know, Haye stole one of my Ali t-shirts years ago, yeah? And he still ain't bring it back.
Yeah, and Ryan tried to ask me for it today.
And you know, yeah, he's my boy, but the way I feel right now, that could get him in trouble.
This is the best time to catch Ryan. He's emotional. I can catch him right now. I can catch him. Yeah.
Bring my t-shirt back. Yeah, and don't do a Canelo.
Alright, let's go.
Alright then. Pros in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So it was announced this week that the Olympic Committee have agreed to allow pros to go into the Olympics.
I'm split with this, by the way. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'd say me, I'm split with it as well. Originally, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
I thought it was suicide. In a sense, yeah.
I thought it was ridiculous.
Yes.
And some boxers come out and said it's really bad. Some come out and supported it. And then I read an article and someone said, no, I read an article and someone commented underneath it and said, so how does this work for promoters who are fighters signed under contract that want to go in the Olympics? Does that void their contract? Does that make them amateur status while they're pro status? How does it actually work out technically for it?
Could be the best question ever asked in the history of boxing.
And I was like, guess what? That is a bloody great question. And sometimes when you read something inspirational, when you read something thought-provoking, it makes you think deeper into it.
Yeah.
So I thought, guess what? There's guys out there that ain't millionaires, that ain't top-ranked fighters, that never got the opportunity. They can go to the Olympics. You got guys out there that, you know, are 9-2 and 7 draws, but they're good fighters, but they fight on short notice in all over the world and don't get a fair break. Guess what? They can make the name of the Olympics. We were looking at it as of Tyson Fury, Amir Khan, this one. We're thinking world champions going to the Olympics. Because even Klitschko said he wouldn't mind doing it. What about the average Joe? What about the average guy who just turned over last week, didn't get selected, but lost a split decision in the ABAs to the guy that's going to the Olympics? It's not as clear cut as it seems.
A couple of things here, and this is going to go so over the place because there's loads. Mike Tyson came out and said that he thinks some of the pros will get beat by the amateurs. First and foremost, so did Barry McGuigan. Barry McGuigan was like, we have them in our camp, we spar with them. They're used to 3-3-minute rounds, almost like a prize fighter thing. Our pros can get geared and conditioned to 12 3-minute rounds.
So you turn the clock on them.
Yeah, it's like you always say about boxers, start slow. You say, like, some people are notoriously slow starters, Carl Froch, Cotto. Some people just notoriously slow start. They could lose. What, and I've done a bit about this, the AIBA president is trying to do, as much as we don't want to believe it, guys, maybe because we got the hoo-ha about 2012 Olympics here and we had a few Brits fighting on the cards, boxing is waning in the Olympics a little bit. Yeah, in terms of tickets, in terms of sales, it's waning. The reason it's waning is because you look at all the other sports, and all the other sports have the marquee names. Yeah. The biggest ticket seller for the Olympics is the 100-meter sprint because of Usain Bolt. He's a name. NBA basketball, basketball have all the NBA stars, names. The football have all the professional footballers around the world, names. Boxing, unfortunately, is much
behind the times.
Behind the times, it's got all the amateur boxers and no one knows them. Yeah. So, in terms of a TV thing, can you imagine? Obviously, this is not going to happen. Hypothetically, stupid. Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather in the finals. It's a golden ticket. It's a huge event, and it gets made without all the hoo-ha of promoter and this and weights and this. It gets made. That won't happen, obviously, but I'm just trying to give you where maybe they're looking at it from in terms of a money spinner.
Another thing as well, I said, is that you've got to look at it, as much as boxing's boxing, the pro game and the amateur game are slightly different. Now, I know they changed the scoring system, they were trying to make it more like real pros. But until I see
boxing as well is getting close, isn't it? Yeah. With the no headgear.
No headgear, They try and make it more like professional boxing, but as it stands right now, until I actually see it, I don't know it, but it's still a point scoring element towards it. Where boxing, professional boxing, is more about inflicting damage and stopping your person. Yeah. So in terms of an actual fight style, you can have someone who's a swarmer and throws thousands of punches, but technically is not scoring points. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's still, until you actually see how they're going to work it out and announce the actual official portfolio for it, the point I'm making is though is that it's slightly different still. You also, and I think we've seen it now, guys, you also got very good amateurs. Like, I mean, because Carl Frampton said, oh, it's like badminton and tennis, and almost like the amateurs wouldn't stand a chance. And I beg to differ. I mean, look, obviously it's one-offs, but you got Vasyl Lomachenko as a good example of someone that was an amateur, one fight, world champion.
I mean, went for the title, and now after 3 fights, he's got the, he's got the world title. Rigondeaux.
Yeah.
Now I'm telling you now for a fact, those two, yes, there might be only 2 names. You could have put a pro with them in the amateurs.
Yeah, they got it handed to them.
They would have got handed to them.
Yeah.
They would have got it handed to them. So a lot of people, I'm not thinking of it from the. I don't know if I'm thinking it from a safety element anymore, because I think amateurs can handle the pros.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking of it as like what you said. The promoters, how will that work? You've got a marquee fighter. Yeah. How would that work, honestly? Does country over-proceed that like it does with football? I don't know. But B, I really do think that the AIBA president has done it for feelers for now. For 2016, no one's going to do it. It's too late. But for 2020, I think he's going to want professional boxers in the Olympics, because it makes it a bigger event.
You can have a fighter that was a former world champion, be on the slide, and think I can rejuvenate my career. Yeah. So, but guess what? I'm a former world champion, but I'm no longer at my peak. I'm back down here. This could be a chance for me to actually build something, kind of like a prize fighter. The point I'm making is that there's opportunities out there. I think I wouldn't want to see any top-ranked fighter in the Olympics. Yeah. Anyone in the top 20, top 30, I think you should be like, hell no. But I do think there's a market for other guys. The faded stars, you think? Even some faded stars, but I think there's a market for pros to actually be in the Olympics. Because when we say pros, we're not talking about the killers. We're talking about everyone that's turned over with a pro card that, is a decent fighter that never got a fair shot. Yeah, and let's be honest, guys. I mean, I've seen a lot of silly papers, and honestly, I mean, stupid. Tyson Fury now is going to fight for millions, like Anthony Joshua. Yeah. They're not going to go they're not going to go because I want to fight for my country to the Olympics. They're not the ones they're kind of talking about. I mean, I got asked the question, will Anthony Joshua fight the 2nd seeded Indian? That's what someone asked me. I was like, well, no, because Anthony Joshua doesn't really want to go. He's not going to chase a gold. He's already won a gold. He's not, but it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you one thing, though. There is a market for double Olympic champions, because, especially for heavyweights, that Telford Stevenson record, a lot of people like that. They're like, oh my gosh, the only 3-time Olympic gold medalist, couldn't be beaten. Offered him $5 million to fight me, wouldn't fight. There's a huge accolade to being a double heavyweight Olympian. And what you also have, guys, as well, is, and you think about this for a second, you've got a lot of boxers out there that could easily turn pro and just don't want to fight for their countries. Yeah, obviously Cubans can't. Yeah. But you've got a lot of the guys from Eastern Bloc that literally don't want to turn pro, want to fight for my country. Yeah, a lot of them. So going around, you've got a lot of guys in the amateurs that pros already. They're pros already, but they're just sticking. They just stick with it, and they're happy to fight for their country. So it kind of already exists behind the closed doors. If you think about it. Yeah, I will say this year to wrap it up is that this story has a lot of legs. And it could go so many different directions right now. It'll be very hard for anyone to give you a judgmental, fair opinion on it. Right now, I think it's everyone's knee-jerk reaction. It's bad. It's bad. It's good. It's good. You don't really know until it actually plays out a little bit, because, like I said, there's time to go. Boxing is a marquee sport in the Olympics. Maybe some people might argue. Every other marquee sport in the Olympics, and I'm talking the marquee sports, have their top stars in the world competing in them. Yeah. Whether it be the 100 meters, whether it be the football, whether it be the tennis now, whether it be the basketball, they have the NBA. Boxing's the only one who has professional stars, but the professional stars don't compete. Yeah. One star that said he wants to go. Yeah, Amir Khan. Yeah, Amir Khan said he wanted to go and fight for Pakistan. Is that controversial, do you believe? The fact that you fought for Britain, and now you're saying you want to go and fight for Pakistan. Is it because he was in Pakistan when he said that? Okay, see, this is what I will say. Amir Khan is known for saying outlandish comments. Yeah. And I think that you have to fight for your citizenship. Amir Khan, as far as I know, is a British citizen. So I find it very hard for him to fight for Pakistan. I think he might have dual citizenship. I know his brother did. Yeah. Because he didn't get picked in the British squad. Yeah. So I know there is ways around it, but I would think that, just to tell you what, he can. Yeah. Didn't Merlin Ottey, who used to run for Jamaica, went Finland? Finland or something like that. Yeah. They definitely switched allegiance. They bought her over. Basically, gave her enough money to buy her over. Yeah. What I'm asking is that Amir Khan has this kind of love-hate with British public. Some like him, some don't like him. Yeah. That doesn't help, does it? Why don't you say you want to fight for Britain? No. See, this I'm trying to see. Okay, to tell the difference between me and other guys, I'm a boxing fan. I don't care about love or hate. Yeah. I go for the boxing. Yeah, if you're going to fight good matches, you fight good matches. If your attitude's crappy, if you say outlandish statements, I'm just saying that ultimately, if he wants to fight for them, he can fight for them. Just give us good fights. Okay. Let's move forward. This is the last time we're going to talk about this subject until we get some official resolution from the WBC, something down the line.
That's subject.
Because it's been 3 weeks now we've been going on this subject every week, back and forth, back and forth. So, Rybicki, Povetkin's promoter, has said that Povetkin has now passed 2 drug tests after he had the failed drug test, which proved it was residual use, and that the fight is going to happen. The WBC said until the investigation comes out, the fight is classified as postponed, not cancelled as Wilder's team is saying, because they had to do their investigation. I'll give you a chance first to answer before I give you my answer. What do you think of this so far?
My answer is one word, and it's one word only, and I want to leave it to bullshit.
Thank you very much. Guys, there's a phrase that goes around in the world that I was born that night, but I wasn't born last night. Yeah?
I have never heard that. That must be a West Indian thing. I've never heard that in my African household.
Okay.
I was born that night, but I wasn't born last night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me explain this to you guys, yeah? And like I said, yeah, I'm not a doctor, it's just my opinion, yeah? And like I said, we spoke to Gabe Montoya. We've done our own steroids in boxing video years ago. I've written articles on steroids in boxing. We've discussed steroids in boxing on Boxtalk many times. Fair enough, I say that we know our shit well enough. You don't pass 3 tests, clean 3 tests, yeah? And then fail the 4th test, yeah? And then 2 weeks after say, now you've failed, now you've cleared 2 other tests. There's something called cycling, yeah? Where you could clear your blood through blood doping, through drinking certain fluids, through IVs to clear your system, yeah? Now I'm not saying Povetkin done this, but it's very, very unusual that you say you took something in September, you got tested in April, which was in March and April and passed, then failed mid-April, then came clean again in May. I'm not saying I'm a bloody scientist, but my 7-year-old son could work that out.
It's a joke, innit? It's a
joke.
joke.
It's silly, yeah?
I'll be honest with you, sorry to interrupt. I'm shocked that, because you said your 7-year-old son could work it, I'm shocked that some of the comments of people have been like, oh, he's clean, he's clean. I'm like, guys, what? I'm not being harsh on you guys, but come on.
Every boxer in history that's failed a steroid test is clean. Every single one. No one ever said, guess what, okay, I did it, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think that, actually. I don't think anyone ever said, you know what, you got me this time, guys. The doctor that prescribed the drug messed up the cycle chain. It was supposed to be out of his system prior to the Wilder fight, and oops, we've messed up here. We've messed up by a week.
Yeah.
Think about it. If they got that cycle right by a week, we wouldn't even be here right now. He would have probably whipped Deontay Wilder's ass with that power and strength and stamina, and he'll bring #1 heavyweight in the world soon to come.
And people that say that VADA, oh, they ain't released a statement. VADA never released statements. Their job is not promotion, it's not negotiation. Their job is to test and give you the results. What you do with the results after that is down to you.
Yeah, we're just telling you, you failed.
Yeah, they don't do nothing else. So
we're not here to tell you how and why. This isn't like, you know, you failed. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. Your blood results. Sorry. We're not here to say, yeah, this could happen. That you failed.
I saw a statement saying that, I think it was from Niski or someone over that camp, said something along the lines that VADA would not release a statement. It's like, they're not releasing a statement because they never do. That's not their job. You're using the media to sell a story which is not clear. Now, I'm still going to say there are grey areas. So I don't think it's a, what's the word? I'm not going to put my stamp on it and say it's 100% official, that's the way it is. But the point I'm making is that don't use the press to push a story which is not true. Just a quick one here, Ade. We talked a few weeks ago about we being mystic and being visionaries.
We kind of are.
Yeah, we kind of predict quite a few things. Yes. Last week we talked about Ashley Theophane and Ricky Burns.
Yeah, I said that should be a fight. That should. Don't you dare tell me.
So Ashley Theophane says he's on board for the. Ashley Theophane says he's on board for the Burns fight, and yeah, we could do this.
Just saying. Just saying, guys. Look, anytime you want national lottery numbers, this is. We'll give you the one for 1 month in advance. Damn. Jeez. Wow. Good little fight. Good little scrap. Theophane could beat Burns. Theophane could beat Burns. I don't know who the kid Burns was last time, and Theophane got beat by Broder. So I don't know where either one is, to be honest.
It's funny. On last week's video, a few people said that they're surprised we gave Burns credit for the fight, and I want to clarify. We're giving Burns credit for the comeback of his career.
Come on,
I mean, he was down in the dumps, so got to give him credit for his comeback. But like we said on the show, the guy he fought was not really a top-ranked fighter. He was not really a relevant fighter.
Can't be that harsh. I mean, Ryan are normally harsh in the show, and we could have said, "Oh, Burns' style when he didn't box on the back foot." Well, we could have done all that, but we didn't even give a breakdown of the fight because, regardless, he's had really bad defeats. He's had problems in and out of the ring. He went to 140 pounds.
Yeah.
Come on,
give him a little bit.
Give him a bit of credit, man.
And guys, you know, me and Ed will tell you the truth. We ain't gonna hold it back. We'll tell you the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we could have ripped that performance if we wanted to, but it wasn't about the performance. It's about just getting the win and coming back.
We don't like ripping boxers. That's why we're the boxing basement for the people that actually spoil boxing.
Yeah.
Really, we love boxing, but we'll always give it a fair shout. So, I mean, give Ricky Burns his credit for that fight.
Give him some credit, man. Give him some credit.
All right, then let's go back to some real news. Tony Bellew, David Haye. The Bomber versus BMZ bitch. Yeah. Bomber versus bitch. Yeah. That's what you should call it. That's what you should call it.
Yeah, I ain't calling David a bitch.
All right then, let's.
You not see the video he put out?
Yeah.
He looked a bit mean, and I ain't calling him that bitch.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I like the David Haye video.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
I liked it as well. It's like what?
No.
On the underground, the train's going over me.
No. But to what I like David Haye, yeah. He does like what I would have done.
Responded.
No, it's not responded. He kept it professional. Congratulations on your world title.
I
know, it's a lifelong dream, you know, but you got knocked down the first round. You might have lost your brain for a second, because you ain't never knocking me out.
Like, basically, know what I mean, bro? Yeah. If you want to be knocked out, I've got a list of people that are getting knocked out right now.
I swear I've said that myself to some people. Like
that is the David Haye I like.
Yeah.
That's the David Haye I like. That's the guy that, that looked like the... See, there's been 2-3 different David Hayes we've seen in the last couple of years. There's been the actor, the clown, the show. That there reminds me of the David Haye that when he was going to try and take out Klitschko and he walked up the stairs with Klitschko.
Yeah. Semi show.
You're like, you're calling me out.
Yeah.
Tony Bellew is calling David Haye.
Let me tell you something right now, yeah? Credit to Tony Bellew.
Credit to him.
Yeah, we'll discuss that part tomorrow. Credit to Tony Bellew. But I like that Tony Bellew called out David Haye. Because of the thing about the fight, yeah? Them two had beef for a couple of years. They've been going back and forth for years. Yeah? Tony Bellew said, look, now I'm cruiserweight world champion. I have credence. I didn't have that before, really. Now I am. Yeah, you have been putting on some doo-doo performances and doo-doo cards. Regardless what people think if the fight's good or bad or competitive, give me the fight. Because I will fight you.
At what weight?
He said, Bellew saying that go to an agreeable weight, which mostly what 210.
He kept on saying go to your natural weight. Yeah,
natural weight. No, there's a video after that.
Oh, okay.
There's a video after that. Here's the thing about it. David Haye is back into the game for money. He's back into the show for money. Let's be honest, straight up.
Yeah.
He's got the Briggs fight coming up for September. Yeah. Again, it's a fight that generates good money. It's gonna be a great show, but I don't think anyone's expecting a great fight. You expecting a great fight?
A little blow up.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Both will get hurt, and it's not going 12 rounds.
Oh, no.
And both have bad stamina. So when they both slow down, whoever gets clipped first gets clipped. The Bellew fight, even though in terms of heavyweights, it does not for David Haye. It's a huge fight domestically. It generates huge, and it's a fight that will go on pay-per-view, guaranteed. Yeah,
I'll be very straight, and I said this the last time because I think you mentioned this fight about a year ago. I don't know if you remember it. You mentioned it, and I said I'm going to tell you what I said to you then. I said David Haye will knock him out early. Literally end his lights like that. Someone said this to me the other day, and someone put it very nice into it, and I said, well said. They said David Haye, I think kind of what we said as well. He might be a dick, he might be this, he might be that. Put gloves on him, that all goes out the window. Look, he's not stronger, he's not faster, he's not a better boxer, he's not more explosive. I'll give him that he's got heart, that's good, I'll give him that one. Every other boxing tick is David Haye, David Haye, David Haye, David Haye. David Haye was to catch him the way that Makubu catched him, and David Haye then pounced and be lights out quick.
Sorry, say them again.
Was it Makubu? What's his name?
Makabu. Makabu, they want to say it.
It's Makabu. I'm saying the African way. Makubu. That's what it is, Makubu.
Okay, I will give you the flip side to the coin.
Oh, here we go.
I'm going to give you the flip side to the coin.
Let's give me the flip sides.
I tell you what, boxing, I always say, it's based on what have you done for me lately.
Yeah.
It's what you do today.
Yeah, I agree.
David Haye, 3.5 years ago, destroys Tony Bellew.
Yeah.
Absolutely shattered him. It will be the Enzo McAnally fight all over again.
Yes. Oh, man.
David Haye, who I've seen the past 6 months, not the same fighter. Yeah? right? Tad slower. Yeah,
slower.
A little bit clubby.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm trying to say, taking credit for guys that he's supposed to beat up easy.
Yeah, definitely.
The guy he fought last time, big hands, big head, didn't throw a punch in 2 rounds, I don't think. Yeah, that and you still taking 2 rounds. If a guy's not throwing punches, you should take him out. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying Belly's gonna win. I'm just saying that David Haye ain't who we think he is right now. Until we fight someone, then we'll see.
Come on, let's be honest though about this as well. We said that Bellew is not even a cruiserweight. He's masculine.
No, he's not. Yeah.
So was that kid, by the way.
Yeah.
He was fleshy at the weigh-in. He got the same problem.
They were both middleweights. They're both light heavyweights that have gone up. Yeah. So it gave Bellew a chance to look better.
Although David Haye is a small heavyweight, David Haye is a massive cruiserweight. Massive cruiserweight. You even saw that video he done there, where he's obviously got a little bit of a belly.
Yeah.
He looked thick.
Yeah.
Thick set, and that's David Haye at 15. I'd say about 15, 9, 15, 10.
I say 16 stone. Yeah,
I'm not joking.
I've met Bellew before, and you've met Haye before. So let's try to do this together. Bellew, I met him the 2 days after he had the fight with light skin guy, contender. Chilemba. Yeah, and he got the draw. Yeah. And then times I was about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Bellew was smaller than me. I said to him, how do you make 175?
Yeah.
Because you're smaller than me, but you're clearly
still got 20 pounds to cut down.
Still got 20 pounds to cut down. Bellew's best weight is 190 max. He's not a heavyweight. And guys, look at me. I'm telling you right now, Bellew's smaller than me for a fact. David Haye, is David Haye bigger than me?
Height-wise, is maybe a half an inch taller. That's it.
Yeah. So he's about 6'2", 6'3".
6'2".
Yeah. And his size.
David Haye,
legitimate size.
Legitimate size. I'd say he is about 15 stone 5.
All right then.
15 and a half stone. Anything more than that, he looks a bit chubby-ish.
So basically, David Haye's got a 2 stone weight advantage on Tony Bellew.
Naturally,
2 stone weight advantage.
Naturally. Because remember, David Haye's been a heavyweight now for how long? I know it took years off, but
no, since 2009.
So
2009.
That's his weight now.
Yeah, that's his weight.
That's his weight now.
That's his weight.
Do you know what I mean?
I think Haye could make 210.
I think he could for this fight. If someone gives him a check and it says 3 million, it'll make the weight.
Yeah.
But let's be honest as well. Before that, I'll say Makabu, whatever his fight. Bellew's performances haven't been.
He hasn't.
At cruiser against non-cruiserweights. I don't mean non-cruiserweights in that route.
When he fought Masterneck, yeah.
Come on.
I'm telling you right now, Masterneck's a real cruiserweight.
Yes.
And Bellew struggled with that. But I'll say that as well. One thing I'll say about Masterneck, and I'll say about Eastern European guys, technically they're good.
Yeah.
They might not be flashy, but they know how to make you look bad. Yeah. And anyone that sparred knows what I mean by make you look bad. And I think Masterneck didn't think he won the fight, but he didn't make Bellew look anything better than he is.
I will end and I'll say this, and I sometimes think it just comes down to levels, and I like Bellew, and I'm happy he got a world. We're going to talk about it prior. I'm so happy he got a world title. He said after, I'm the #1 in the world right now, and I kind of feel like you're not, but that's another. We'll talk about it later. David Haye at a catchweight is not a good idea, but I like that he's calling them out. But at catchweight, I think I see David Haye doing what he's done to the other kids.
I give David Haye a huge advantage in this fight, but I'm not sold on David Haye 2016 yet. We mentioned we had a big discussion about this Anthony Crolla, Terry Flanagan scenario, and I'm insisting this fight has to happen. And you made a valid point about money and profile and what each side could bring to the table in regards to making a huge match. As we know right now, Crolla looks like he's in to get Linares. Yeah, Linares has asked for it. Eddie Hearn's asked for it. They've done busy with Linares and Golden Boy previously,
so it's easy.
And Linares has travelled, so he knows the deal already. Do you know who Flanagan's fighting next?
He's on the undercard of Fury Klitschko.
Yeah, but you know who he's fighting?
No, who?
Monkey Fana.
Who's that?
Alright then, there you go, who's that? Okay, we're going to give you a flashback. Remember when Eric Morales, Barrera, remember when Barrera was the man 11 years ago?
Yeah.
He beat Monkey Flanagan.
Oh no. This is what I was talking to you about, you know?
Yeah.
No, stop you there. Someone to take over. This is what I was talking to Ryan about. And I said, it's all good, all well and good, Frank calling out Eddie's fighters, Make some big fights for your fighters so that if your name beats someone of a name or a stance, it then looks good.
Yeah.
Crawler's beat Darlis Perez and he beat Barroso.
Yeah.
He's done his bit. Your guy go and beat someone. I'm so angry. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed now because the way I say it, this is a Fury Klitschko undercard. This should generate a bit of income. You should be able to pay someone nice money and get a name over.
They're saying Monkey Fana is a former world champion, yeah, which is true. 11 years ago.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I don't want. I had to look at BoxRec. Adi, a guy you could vouch. Everyone could vouch for me. You know me in my boxing already. I got all the magazines. Yeah, Ring Magazine, Boxing Monthly, Boxing News, all the articles, all the websites I go on every single day. And I haven't heard Monkey Fana's name for maybe 10 years.
I'm not joking, as you guys can see.
I can't tell you.
When Ryan said who's, I said who?
I can't. Now, he might have fought someone in the past 10 years that was worthy, but as a hardcore boxing fan, I'm like, when did Monkey Fana fight? So I looked at the BoxRec record, and I think he's got like 7 losses since the Barrera fight, or 6 losses since the Barrera fight. Against decent people, but this is not the fight for Terry Flanagan.
This is...
Especially in the build-up to the crawler.
And I said this, and I don't know if Bradley Skeet's injured, so I don't want to say... I said, what's Bradley Skeet done since Sam Egginton? That fantastic win on Sky.
Yeah.
So you open up... What's going on? Why am I not hearing his name in the mix for 147? So that's the way, look, I'm not going to compare him to Errol Spence, that's stupid. But see the way the Americans have done for Errol Spence?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at this new... Why can't we be talking about Bradley Skeet? Why can't he be promoted right? Can you imagine now, guys, Eddie Hearn and Frank going to the table to negotiate, and Frank dare saying 50-50?
Yeah.
And if Crawler beats Linares, which it probably won't, might do, you never know, good fight. So Crawler will go to the table and say, look, I just beat Linares, Darlis Perez, and I beat Barroso. You're going to come to the table with me with
Monkey Fana
and Derry Matthews.
Okay. Monkey Fana is now 42 years old.
Yeah, so he's a young spring chicken.
He has a record of 38 wins, 16 KOs with 9 losses, 2 KOs. He's on a 2-fight winning streak.
Oh wow, he's doing alright. This kid, alright.
In his last 5 fights, in his last 6 fights, he's lost 2. In his last 8 fights, he's lost 3. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In his last 12 fights, he has lost 5 times since 2012. So that's current history. This is a guy on the slide. This is not a guy on the up.
All right, look, we are very honest on this show, so we don't like to sit on the fence. So we criticise Eddie Hearn, we criticise Bob, Oscar, Al, everyone. If you watch all our videos over the last 2.5 years, I think everyone's got an equal destroy. But it has to get to a stage now with Frank that, yes, it's all good that he puts out these articles and kind of disses other promoters a little bit. Oh no, I won't say, let me take that back. Doesn't diss other promoters. He kind of says what he thinks is the truth in terms of what's going on with boxing. But you've got world champions. Liam Smith's fighting tonight. Yeah. Because it was, who's he fighting again?
Rezavic.
My point there. That's my point there already.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Billy Joe Saunders was supposed to fight Max Bursa until they got kind of pulled.
Yeah.
Terry Flanagan's fighting. What's his name again?
Monkey Fana.
Now, got 3 good boxers there. All have got talent.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my point with them. I mean,
all world champions.
All world champions. Not one of them is fighting a Mark M. It's not like you can give me one and saying, but look at what he's doing. Not one. If I'm over in there that stable right now, I'm not trying to say, oh, Job, don't bloody send this to Frank and let Frank go and send me an email. All I'm trying to say is, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I've not seen a history of the last 4 or 5 years of a marquee name coming over.
I think I've criticised. Okay, we've criticised Frank and Eddie Hearn. I've praised Frank on his quality of cards from the top fight to the last fight.
Yes,
like I always said, and I'm trying to say. But you're right. The main events are lacking. What I will say though is that you got to look at it, and just because you got a Sky budget, it does give you extra bargaining power. That pay-per-view income does give you extra bargaining power. Frank has income, but he buys fights from America. So you look at the income coming in and how it's distributed. Frank's got to distribute more to other parties, where Eddie Hearn only has to distribute to his fighters. So it's kind of different. What I will say is that we need better fights from Frank in terms of the marquee fights. but don't look at it as a downfall on the promotion because you got. It's like living at home. You get paid every month from your salary, and you got to pay Sky, your gas, your electricity, and blah blah blah. That's what Frank's doing. Eddie Hearn is paying himself, and that's where the money comes from.
As I chew on my sleep, I will add this to it.
You get my point, though.
Right, you're right. But when you mentioned it earlier in that bit, we're getting all these amazing fights from America. Some of the fights we've even said, how the hell do they afford to get that?
Yeah.
Maybe concentrate, as much as Box Station's a boxing channel, maybe concentrate on spending, not getting all those fights, not getting every single marquee fight, and giving us one big British fight. Spend a bit of money and getting one big marquee name from over to America or from wherever it is to fight one of our lads here and build a channel that way.
Okay, but then think about this though. Right now we get a good mix where we get the UK fights and we get the international fights. We are missing on the UK fights because Frank ain't giving us the big marquee names for his world champions, so that hurts his branding. But in terms of what we get in content, we're getting even content.
Oh, 100%. But if you're Terry Fellington right now,
yeah, you don't want Monkey Fellington,
and you're the guy that your nemesis, so to speak, is rumored to be getting Linares, and you're getting
on pay-per-view.
On pay-per-view. So pay-per-view money, Linares, Emian Arena, Manchester, sold out. Maybe a decent undercard, maybe not. And you're getting Monkey Fana on Fury Klitschko, biggest heavyweight fight in years. You're on the undercard of that, and you're getting Monkey Fana.
Alright, last couple bits. Eddie Hearn said, "If Al Heyman brings a big stack of money, we will do the bonus fight with Adrian Broner."
With Adrian Broner?
Yeah.
Why's he got to bring a big stack of money?
Because it's called a cash out.
Oh.
His words were, "Bring a big sack of money." Sack.
Yeah.
Not let's negotiate. Not like, oh, we could do a good package. Bring a sack of money.
Yeah.
Which
that
means
basically means
pay us for our title.
Yeah, pay us for the title. I'm not confident in my guy. He's not going to go over there. You've got to come over here.
No, we'll go over there if the sack's big enough.
If the sack's big enough, yeah. If the suitcase under the table is big enough. Private jets as well. We want the best hotels.
Yeah.
Because you're going to try and cash us out of our boy.
So I tell you what, yeah. And again, this will come down to promotion. Promotion's a dodgy business, and
no way.
And you know, you always got to look for, as you say, the big packets for your fighter. I understand that, but this is why I think negotiations should be kept private. Because you telling me or putting it out there, bring a big sack of money, tells me that you're cashing your guy out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help. It doesn't build me confidence.
In your guy.
In your guy.
Yeah. And it means that you have no confidence in your guy.
Yeah.
Because Adrian Broner isn't even the best 140-pound fighter out there.
Yeah. So if he stays at 140.
This is it.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, sometimes it's just let's keep your mouth shut. Finally, Klitschko Fury 2 is heating up. Klitschko said, due to Tyson Fury's anti-Semitic comments and his homophobic comments, he wants to knock you out. I'm coming to fight. There was pictures in a short video this week of Klitschko training. I haven't seen the video yet, but apparently he's going for the knockout, he's saying, which I don't believe Klitschko really, because he's quite smart. But Fury saying he's in shape. He said, look, I'm no longer fat. I could go down from a fat boy to a ripped monster in, what is it, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, he said. And he started putting all these comments out there that he wants this guy, wants that guy, this fight, that fight. He's going to knock out Klitschko. Comments from Peter Fury.
Bitchko.
Yeah. Comments from Peter Fury saying, yep, we're on track now, things are looking good. And guess what? The fight's still 5 weeks out. Finally, is the hype coming for the rematch?
Not really. If I'm honest with you, I don't think so. You say we're 5 weeks out, the hype coming. I mean, I don't know, I've not seen any shows, any TV things about it as much.
This fight went so under the radar for the past month. There's actually now communication.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy because we've got a robot that's starting to talk. And we've got Fury who's been trying to sell the fight himself for ages. I tweeted that, is there anyone else helping? Is anyone going to help Fury try and sell this fight? Fury's been trying to sell this fight from the beginning. He tweets crazy stuff to get people interested. Klitschko shouldn't really use that as an incentive to knock someone out. Klitschko should want to knock this guy out, because this guy beat him.
You respect Klitschko.
Yeah, I do.
As a fighter and a champion, you know what he's achieved, and you understand the history of boxing, so you always give him credit. But you're not a fan of Klitschko.
No.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of Klitschko. I'm a fan of Klitschko. I think technically he fights very smart. I appreciate what he does. As being a non-fan of Klitschko, but respect his ability, bringing this fight coming forward now, do you think Tyson Fury being out of shape up until a certain period of time, some of the comments you heard about problems in camp, being dropped in sparring, all these little bits and bobs have been floating around, and then you got a motivated former champion, what's the last hurrah? I'm not saying I'm upset, but don't you think you're going to get more of a fight this time? Considering Klitschko's history of fighting safe and defensive since 2006, 2007?
My thing is this actually, and I feel like boxing is I'd say about 60% physical, but I genuinely believe it's about 40% mental as well. And I think Klitschko has almost met a nemesis in someone that is so mentally strong, and unfortunately for Vladimir,
he's not the mental
strongest. Vitali, and we said that he'd make him come back now and beat everyone. I genuinely believe that. Some people was like, no, I was like, he would. I think you've said this numerous times. I just don't think Vladimir is as mentally strong, and I feel like Fury is. You said it when you interviewed him, and you could just see the steam coming off him. I said to someone the other day, and I tweeted the two photos of one fit and one getting a bit more ripped. There's a Joker. 100%. There's that Joker kid and does all this nonsense, and you think he's not even a fighter. Then there's the fighter. I don't know if it's the Irish blood and all that kind of fighting they used to. There's something about Fury that is so mentally strong, and he can box a bit. And he's awkward. I mean, let's not forget the beating he put on Chisora. Pula didn't even put that kind of beating on him. Do you know what I mean? That was a beating.
I'll say this. I think Fury is tremendously talented, but I do think his outside antics and his conditioning is ultimately going to let him down. If you're talking about race cars, I want the guy that puts in the best petrol and services his car every week, every month. Not the guy that tunes his car for the one race and treats it like crap for the rest of the year. When I look at Tyson Fury, as much as I like him, as much as I see his ability, I see where he lacks. And I'm scared that it's a new era of heavyweights now. As much as I like Klitschko, it's time for him to move on. He's 40 years old now, he's got his family, he's been a great champion for his period of time. It's time for the young guys to shine. We've got Fury, we've got Wilder, we've got Anthony Joshua, we've got Parker. None of the loose Ortizes. I'm talking about the young guys. It's the new generation.
Yeah, they're kind of under 27.
You've got to turn it over. And every time in boxing history, you have a turnover period. That's the way of life. Klitschko retire and go. I'm scared that not treating yourself where you should be treating yourself, it will catch up to him. If it doesn't catch him in this fight, it could be the next fight.
Agreed.
And pray to God it's not Wilder.
Agreed. I just feel like that Klitschko, as good as he is, I think when someone beats you once, I mean, you've had fights in school.
No, the history.
I don't care how big you are. If I'm beating you once and you're 7'2" and I'm coming to school and I'm 5'11", beating your ass again.
History of boxing. Rematches normally go the same way.
Same way. Especially when you're getting that cocky, confident, arrogant 7-foot monster.
only thing I will say,
11.
6'9",
6'9".
The only thing I will say about heavyweight boxing when it comes to rematches is that the power element is always the issue. We know Vladimir has tremendous power when he puts it together. Would he get an opening? I don't know. But in terms of historic rematches, that's the difference, the power.
Alright, there you go, guys. That fight's happening in 5 weeks' time. July 9th?
Yeah, July 9th.
July 9th, yeah. Loads of videos we've got to do because so many fights happening soon. Firm and Porter.
We've got time to do it. We need to do it.
Alright, guys, there you go. This week in boxing. Another long one. Can you blame us? It's a sad news. Obviously, Muhammad Ali's kind of just made everything this week kind of stop, really. Nothing's going on this week. Fights going on, but no one really cares because this is all about Muhammad Ali and it's going to continue. Watch that video if you've not seen it. It's on our channel. Watch the video, 35 minutes of us just rambling, but don't blame us because it's a difficult subject. Tweet this video, share, subscribe, watch all the other videos. There's so many videos on there. Game and Toy one, we keep mentioning it. And I keep mentioning the video because there's always a steroid thing every week. So watch the video and see what you think and tell us what you think.
One thing, to all the guys that watch our old videos, we get comments from old videos a lot, you know what I mean? Old videos.
I'm scared to watch those videos. I'm scared because we were rusty as hell.
Yeah.
Honestly, we were nervous.
No, not rusty, just camera shy. Yeah,
just camera shy. We wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
So it's not even. So you guys are watching us. This is our personalities now. As you can see, I'm the one that kind of and Ryan's a bit more. Back then, we were both a bit.
Yeah.
This is Boxtalk. There was no brandy, there was no food, there was nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing. And we were filming from an Apple Mac.
Yeah.
We literally used to carry our big ass Apple Mac, and that's how we used to film it. Now we've got we've upgraded. We got a mic. Peace, people.